About a month later or 2 months later, he messaged and said, would you like me to write you a song for what you're doing? And that's not an easy question to say no to.
Who says no to that?
Who says no? Do you want me to write you a song? No. So we said yes. We worked on the lyrics together. We had great fun. He wrote a song. We listened to it. We loved it. And somewhere in the conversation, we came up with, let's create an entire FI music album. Let's talk about music, because people blog, they podcast, they do YouTube channels. No one's ever created a music album to share the messages that have made such a difference in all of our lives. So that's what we set out to do. She spotted me coming out of the bathroom in the middle of the countryside in New Zealand. So it's quite an incredible tour. And I think what I'm so inspired about is people sharing the message of good finances. So it's slowly spreading. It started in America, the financial independence movement, and it's slowly gaining momentum around the world because, as you know, good finances are good finances. Whether you do it in America, New Zealand, Australia, or Lithuania, it doesn't make a difference. Good financial skills are the same the world over. And I think that's why Fire for Dummies and your podcast will become famous around the world.
I made a big mistake of thinking all my problems would be solved and I'd wake up blissfully happy the day that we hit our number. And it doesn't work like that. And I want to save people the pain that I had of waking up the next morning and being like, oh, I'm still me. I still have the same weird things of ways of thinking and behaving and acting and things that I didn't like about myself. It's not like suddenly I became blissfully happy. And the purpose of this song is to tell or to encourage people, please work on your happiness, please work on your health whilst you're in this so-called boring middle. That it's not the boring middle, it's the best part. It's the time where you get to be ready for that freedom.
Welcome to Catching Up to FI, a podcast on mindset, money, and life for late starters of any age on their journey to financial independence. I'm Bill, and I'm a late starter.
I'm Jackie, and I'm also a late starter, and we're your host. We're here to help you on your journey to financial independence, no matter where you're starting.
We're going to talk to experts, other late starters, and explore topics related to our mission.
Join us as we catch up to FI together.
Hello, and welcome back to Catching Up to FI. Today is an awesome, epic, special episode because it's unique. It's never been done before, maybe, because we're going to rock out today. We have the excellent, extraordinary Alan and Katie Donegan with us, and they've done something special that we want to get out there on the airwaves. I used to be a DJ, Jackie, and I feel like my talents are coming to play today. We're also inviting Diana Falk, our social media maven extraordinaire, to join us because this is a concert, and we might as well rock out. Jackie, are you excited for this?
I am excited, Bill, and I know you used to be a DJ, so I'm like, prove your skills to me. So we are going to have fun. We've got two of our favorite people because they got some action-packed stuff going on. So this is going to be an unusual but very fun episode.
Well, they're publishing this year an album, which I don't think has ever been done before in the FI space. So this is avant-garde and will be theme music for the Economy Conference. And we're all going to dance a jingle to this and rock out. There's heavy metal, there's country, there's pop. It's all over the place. And we got to hear about how they did it. Diana, you're also with us here today. How does it feel to be at a Catching Up to FI concert?
I am very thrilled. I'm very, very thrilled. This is exciting times. Thank you.
Okay, well, we're glad you could join us today. We know who Alan and Katie Donegan are, but our audience, and there was an episode we did with them already, Jackie, but our audience may not know. So why don't you introduce them before we get going with that music?
Yeah, well, like you said, we're having a party, and our guests of honor are Katie and Alan Donegan. They dreamed of quitting their jobs and living on the beach in Mexico eating tacos. After many failed attempts to win the lottery or get adopted by rich parents, which I always wish for that too, they realized no one was coming to save them. And so they set out to learn everything they could about money. They figured out the simple steps to take control of their finances and retired at 35 and 40 with a 1 million euro portfolio. Did I say that right, guys? It's euros.
Pounds.
It's pounds.
Pound. Okay. That's what I wanted to ask. Okay, so 1 million pounds. They're from the UK, so you see how much I know about currency. So anyway, they launched Rebel Finance School to share what they have learned, and so far have helped over 25,000 people in 40 different countries. And it was all for free. You cannot find better than that. So the Donegans' mission is to help you create an extraordinary life, whatever that means to you. They aim to do this by helping you get your finances in order, start businesses debt-free, find your own extraordinary. So they have been featured in The Times, BBC, Forbes, The Sun, and were awarded British Empire medals by the King for services to financial education. Wow. They have written a new book titled The Rebel's Guide to Financial Freedom, Simple Missions to Take You from Zero to Money Superhero. No superpowers or spandex required. This is them, you guys. And they have a new album called Revolutionaries Album. Boy, they know how to do it big. So Alan and Katie, welcome back to Catching Up to Fi.
We are so excited to be here. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Diana. It's just a pleasure to be with you. And we're so excited to share something new and exclusive with the audience that they won't have heard anywhere else.
Yeah, so this is a little different. This is a party. Where are we partying from today? I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee. Jackie, where are you?
I'm in Dayton, Ohio. It's not so exciting except hanging out with you guys.
And Diana, where are you today?
And I'm just outside of Phoenix, Arizona in Goodyear.
All right. And these guys they have circumnavigated the world since I last saw them. They have literally gone all the way around. They did a pie tour in New Zealand, and we should hear about that. They were in Africa on a safari. They were in Disney World. And Katie, I think it's your birthday today, is it not?
I am 41 years old today.
Ooh, congratulations. That's part of the party. We're celebrating Katie's birthday. You don't look a day over 30, Katie. You got to go to the YouTube channel to see that.
You're too kind. I'll just flick my hair to show, my youth and beauty.
Where are you guys in the world today?
We're in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
Living on a beach, eating tacos.
Literally, I've seen your Facebook post, and the view out of your Airbnb is spectacular.
We're very lucky. It's stunning. We can watch the sunset every night, and the colors that light up the sky are absolutely stunningly beautiful. There's pinks and oranges and reds. It's amazing.
And it's whale season, so there's whales leaping in the bay outside the window.
My goodness. You guys are making me so jealous. And I think I'm the only poor sap that's sitting here in cold single-digit weather in Ohio. So I'm jealous.
The temperature here in Knoxville today is 70 degrees. So,
rub it in, Bill.
Jackie, do you still have snow on the ground?
Finally, that melted, but we're getting more literally today. It'll be rain, snow, because now we're kind of teetering on, 20s and 30s. So not that much fun, but I'd much rather be where the Donegans are right now.
Yeah, we have a spare room.
You're welcome anytime, Jackie.
All right, guys, if I pop up, I don't want you guys to say, who are you?
And Diana, you're in Phoenix. What's the temperature out there?
The high today is 79.
Oh
Perfect. Why would you leave that? Sunny and 79. And I'm sure the ocean breeze is just spectacular there. And is it Puerto Vallarta, Mexico that you're in?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Just a nice breeze, cool temperature. I think it's like 70s and 80s here.
Oh, you translated.
I did. I had to work it out. 25.
Okay. Well, guys, you made an album. We're here to celebrate your album. Take us back to the genesis, to the very beginning, when this was a twinkle in your eye, or how did it come about?
Well, Katie and I ran this event called Chautauqua, and we were running it last time in Colombia. And this guy called Finn turned up on the event, and Finn was a British person who lived in Canada. He wanted to quit his job. He was checking his numbers. And I don't know if you know this about me, but occasionally I push people to do things because I think it's in their best interest.
Occasionally?
No.
Katie said on the last show, don't tell Alan you want to do something because he will get you to do it.
Imagine being married to this person.
So Finn said, I want to do music. And I was talking to him and he wanted to go to Ibiza, which is the home of some of the music he loves in Europe. So I was pressing him to quit his job. He quit his job. He was learning music. And then about a month later or 2 months later, he messaged and said, would you like me to write you a song for what you're doing? And like, that's not an easy question to say no to.
Who says no to that?
Who says no? Do you want me to write you a song? No. So we said yes. We worked on the lyrics together. We had great fun. He wrote a song. We listened to it. We loved it. And somewhere in the conversation, we came up with, let's create an entire FI music album. Let's talk about music, because people blog, they podcast, they do YouTube channels. No one's ever created a music album to share the messages that have made such a difference in all of our lives. So that's what we set out to do.
Yeah, and our band is called Revolutionaries, and the album we've made is called Money Revolution. So we're so excited to share it. It's got a bunch of different genres. It's not just one genre. We've got barbershop quartet, we've got pop, we've got rock, we've got R&B and rap, and yeah, it's really cool to share through all these different, not just through music, but through all different genres of music as well.
Were you guys singing any of the background vocals?
No, not this time.
Are you guys singers at all? Because the vocalists were amazing.
Well, Alan sang at our wedding.
I did. I'm definitely not a singer. I was a professional speaker, so I do speeches every day. So for our wedding, I ought to do something different. So I took singing lessons for 3 months. I changed the words to one of my favorite songs and sung it at our wedding. And yeah,
Aww.
I've never sung again since.
Never sung.
Did Katie know this was coming, or was this a surprise you launched on her?
It was a complete surprise. It was a complete surprise. Yeah, I was not expecting it. It was that type of thing where all the instrumentalists appeared from around the room. What was the film that you got
Love
inspired
Actually.
by?
So there's a scene in Love Actually where all the musicians just appear, and I wanted to do that. So the guy with the drum kit walked in from the back, the guitarist came from each side, and all of a sudden there was a live song, and no one knew it was going to happen.
That is so cool. That's like a flash mob. I've seen that on the web. That's like your own built-in flash mob for a wedding. I mean, it must have brought tears to your eyes, Katie.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was so unexpected and very touching.
Yes, but we're not singing on this album.
No, there's no
We've got
Alan
the
vocals.
professionals to do the singing.
Well, that's great. I was a DJ back in the day, back in the old days when you had to queue up an album. It was like spinning records. It was vinyl. We had a library of albums, and you had to fade in and fade out, and it was all done by hand. And I had the 10 o'clock show at my high school, and it was so much fun. I never thought that 30 to 35 years later, I'd be podcasting, which is the modern day version of DJing.
Oh, I was about to say 82 years ago, but no, Bill is definitely dating himself. But back in the day, you had some people. Now my daughter, she loves the idea of vinyls. Like when she got a record player, she's like, "Mom, it's this round thing, and you put these black plastic." I'm like, "Yeah, let's call it an album."
Well, are you actually going to cut some vinyl or CDs, or is it all going to be digital online?
We are thinking of doing a vinyl at some point.
Yeah, we might well do a vinyl. We'll do a Kickstarter, get a decent design, create a vinyl. Yeah, we want to launch the album first. We're so excited to get it out there into the world.
Well, you're launching it actually at our favorite conference, Economy, where we're going to see you again. And that is such a nice thing to do. It's going to, the audience doesn't know what's going to hit them. It's going to rock the Casbah of 500 people going, I can't believe they did this. What a cool idea.
Yeah, so you guys, let me take a step back. So this past summer, you had an amazing session of your Rebel Finance School. So many people took that. So how's that going? And where's that at today? Like, are you going to do it again for 2025?
Yes, we are going to do it for 2025. So normally what we do
Yay.
is run it once a year and then we leave it up for a few months afterwards on our YouTube so that people can catch up if they find it after we've done the live version. And we're really excited to build for RFS, Rebel Finance School 2025.
It's the buzz of doing it live, having all the live questions, people going through the
Yes.
course. We would be honored, like I've surprised this on you, but we want you to come back and do the week 1 special session.
Yay, thank you.
About catching up. You rocked last year. People loved your session. So
It's,
Great.
yeah.
as you know, it's such an important message that people, the number of messages that we get of, is there any point me doing the course? I'm older. Is there any time for me to make any progress? And we get people of varying ages. There's people in their early 40s and even their 30s that are saying that. And we're like, yes, there is so much time. And there's time regardless, as you know, of how old you are when you come to this. And that was such a reassuring voice that you had for our audience to tell them, absolutely. So we really valued you being there and we'd love to have you back.
Well, we're trying
Yay.
to reach outside of the bubble, and you guys reached the world bubble all over the place. And we saw a big boost in our international audience after doing that, which was really cool. Just recently, we had somebody from Estonia join our community in Catching Up to Fi. And it's just like, she's the only Estonian in the community. And I'm so proud that she joined us. And we have people from many different countries, but predominantly the US, the UK, New Zealand, and Australia. And your audience is largely based in the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Tell us about that Pi Tour. What exactly is a Pi Tour? And, you know, you went all over New Zealand and people came out of the woodwork to meet you.
Not only did they come out of the woodwork to meet us, they had us stay at their homes, us internet strangers that just said, come and stay with us. And we were like, okay.
So the reason it was called a Pi Tour, we had Ruth the Happy Saver, who's like New Zealand's top FI blogger, podcaster on the Rebel Finance School. And we were talking about their accounts, and PI stands for Portfolio Investment Entity. And it's an actual type of account like a 401k and a Roth. And we were just laughing because we desperately wanted PI accounts in the UK. Like, I just want to have an account that I hold pies in. So we're like, let's do a great Pi Tour about portfolio investment entities. So we traveled around New Zealand. We did meetups. We did 10 meetups in 30 days, and people came to hang out in different cities. In Christchurch, 50 people turned up to come and hang out with us. And it's really random. Like, no one really knows us, but we were spotted in supermarkets. We were cycling in the middle of New Zealand, and I went to the bathroom, came out of the bathroom, and there was this voice going, Mr. Donegan. And I was like, what did I do? I washed my hands. What are you talking about? And
I just have this vision of the two of you meeting in the urinals and you look at each other and go,
That would be hilarious because it was a woman as well.
yeah, she spotted me coming out of the bathroom in the middle of the countryside in New Zealand. So it's quite an incredible tour. And I think what I'm so inspired about is people sharing the message of good finances. So it's slowly spreading. Like, it started in America, the financial independence movement, and it's slowly gaining momentum around the world because, as you know, good finances are good finances. Whether you do it in America, New Zealand, Australia, or Lithuania, it doesn't make a difference. Like, good financial skills are the same the world over. And I think that's why Fire for Dummies and your podcast will become famous around the world.
well, so cool. And your songs are all about different aspects of the FI world. And we're going to play them. We're going to play them today, and we're going to talk about them. Can you introduce the first song for us, the 4% Rule?
Absolutely. As you know, the 4% rule is a pillar of the FI community. Also, a very hotly debated subject. And so many people are scared of running out of money. What if I run out of money? Is 4% too conservative? Is it too aggressive? There's so many discussions. So we wrote an entire song about whether you will survive on the 4% rule.
Wow. We talk about the range of percent rules. People talk about the fire community being 3%, 3.25%. Frank Vasquez talks about the 5 to 6% rule. And the 4% rule is Bill Bengen's invention back in the 1990s. And we had him on the show. You guys should probably have him on the show, or we should have him back on the show and play this for him, or we need to send him a copy of the 45, because, and then we have to come up with in the future the 5% rule song for Frank Vasquez and Bill Bengen, because he's coming out with a new book and he's going to come back on the show. The book releases, I think, August 5th this year, and it's supercharging your retirement. And he comes up with a different portfolio construction that helps people they have to save less because they can spend more. Isn't that interesting? And that's the perfect segue into a late starter supercharged portfolio. How you construct it can help you get to retirement sooner.
Retirement may feel far away, but today is the perfect day to start planning. At Bolden.com, they help you take control of your financial future, whether you're years away from retirement or just a short time away. Their easy-to-use retirement planning tool is designed to help you every step of the way.
So Jackie, with Bolden.com, you can track your savings, get personalized retirement advice based on your goals, explore investment options to grow your wealth, and create a strategy that's built for your own unique needs.
Best of all, Bill, it's all in one place. Simple, secure, and tailored just for you. You don't need to be a financial expert to start planning your dream retirement. Bolden.com makes it easy and puts the power back in your hands.
So start today and take the first step towards a confident tomorrow. Visit gobolden.com/catching up and start building the retirement you deserve. That's go.bolden, BOLDIN.com/catching up. All right, Diana, we're going to play just for you the 4% rule. Are you guys ready to dance?
Yes.
All right, let's see if this works. We're using some new tech here. I got a mixer, and this is a happening thing. All right, take it away, the 4% rule.
They told me save my money, hold it tight. The 4% will let you live your life. But the doubts start creeping late at night. Can I really trust the numbers, or is it a lie? The future's looking hazy, can I make it last? What if the market crashes, taking all my cash? They say 30 years, but will it be too fast? I'm caught between the dream and the past. Live on 4%, it'll take me all the way. 4%, just a little each day. 4%, it'll take me all the way. 4%, my dreams are here to stay. Yeah, 4%, it'll take me all the way. 4%, just a little each day. 4%, it'll take me all the way. 4%, my dreams are here to stay.
All right, my dreams are here to stay. And
Woohoo!
the theme of this, Diana, is trust the math, right?
Yep.
Do you trust the math?
I do.
All right.
Yes, sir. I do.
So it works. Yeah, that's a short answer.
Yeah.
We need to work on our answers for the podcast. It has to be more than words.
Well, I think I would have said the same thing. Yeah, trust the math. I mean, little other nuances
It's
around.
really hard to and believe in it because you guys are living it. Do you live on the 4% rule, Alan and Katie?
Kind of not. That was always our aim. Our target was a £1 million portfolio, which gives you 40 grand a year to live off at the 4% rule. We hit that in 2019. And I never expected this, but I built a business that now exists without me, and I still earn some money from that business. But that doesn't pay for all of our expenses. So we kind of live partly off our portfolio and partly off the business that I've built. And yeah, that was always our aim. We've actually been shocked, and I'm sure you probably know this, but in the period since 2019, our portfolio has over doubled. It's gone up to 2.3 million.
Yeah.
which is just insane. And then you go, well, like the 4% rule is just too conservative. So what are all these crazy people out there who are so fearful of quitting their job because they need to save more? It's just not been our experience.
Well, that's based on a 60-40 portfolio with intermediate treasuries and the S&P 500. S&P 500 60, and it's very conservative because people fear running out of money, and that is the portfolio that Bill Bengen came up with in the 90s that made sure they were confident they would never run out of money, and it was a 30-year runway. So it was the perfect portfolio for somebody that was retiring in their 60s and planned on living into their 90s. But today, it's a totally different story because we can construct things that he couldn't construct back then, right?
Yeah, they didn't even exist, the portfolios, the type of index funds that we have now, the ETFs. And we didn't want to be in bonds. Like, if you see the reaction or the relationship between bonds and stocks and shares, the more bonds you introduce, the lower your growth over the long term. Right. So we retired at 40-35. Katie beat me by 5 years. She always does. But we didn't want to go into a lot of bonds when we're young because we still wanted to see it grow. So I think I'd be really interested. I think Bill would probably think we're a bit crazy, but we're 100% stocks and shares.
Yeah, I get this all the time.
I know. Look, he's talking about me. Look, he loves to out me, but I'm in the same boat as you guys. I've been retired for going on 6 years. And Bill, when you asked the question of Diana, do you believe in the math or the 4% rule? My answer is kind of a short answer too. Yes, I do believe in it. And because you got to have a starting point. You got to have an anchor point. Okay. So that's always been sort of my starting point. And then I introduced all these other things, right? Do I have income from somewhere else? Do I have any kind of passive income coming in? Am I considering Social Security? But I'm with the Donegans. I'm not 100% stocks, but definitely my portfolio is not 60% stocks, 40% bonds or equivalent that the 4% rule was based on. And my portfolio as well has pretty much doubled since I retired in 2019.
Wow, there you go. Are you 80, 90% stocks? Where do you sit with your risk tolerance?
You're talking to the Donegans?
I'm talking to you, Jackie. I want to know.
No, let's let the Donegans answer. Did you guys say you were 100%? Did you guys say 100% stock?
Our investments are 100%. We have the rest, when Alan's saying we're 98%, the rest is just cash in our,
that we're going to spend on Lego accounts. And jigsaws and tacos.
Okay, so kind of similar to me because I really don't do bonds. So I have other types of fixed income that I have to pull off of to live on, right? We need to keep that somewhat liquid. So for me, I think it's about 80 to 90% in stocks, but always have 2 to 3 years worth of living expenses in some type of liquid cash or cash equivalent. It doesn't necessarily have to be bonds, but I have to have some type of fixed income so that I can take money as I need it to pay my bills.
Yeah, and I'm 75 to 80%. That's where I sit, which I think is still a growth portfolio. And I do have bonds. I believe in bonds as a counterbalance to, because I'm not going to tolerate at my age 59 on the precipice of retiring, a 30, 40% drop, and I need a little bit more runway to stomach that. I came from a scarcity mindset, and my risk tolerance isn't what you guys are. Diana, we got to out you a little bit too if you're willing to be comfortable. Yeah. Are you 100% stocks at your stage of the game?
I'm the same as the Donegans and 10% in cash. So
yeah,
nice.
All right, you're the minority, Bill.
These are not recommendations by any means.
Yeah, please, no recommendations. This is just our experience.
Everybody's risk tolerance is different. And then the other thing that's different for you guys, because you're an international crowd, is what you invest in. U.S. centers investors tend to be biased to the U.S. It's the biggest economy in the world. I imagine Jackie's Growth Girl, VUG is her go-to. and then Diana, I think she's FSKAX or something like that in Fidelity is where she does her total market portfolio. Tell us a little bit about, for our international audience in the UK especially, what do you guys do and why do you do it that way?
We have a global fund, so not just the US, but all the markets around the world, or the ones that you can invest in easily. And our philosophy for that is to just bet on the global economy. So if one country's doing well, then that will start to make up more of the index. If one country starts to not do as well, we don't really care because someone else is coming up. We're not choosing any countries.
And I think the bit that's really interesting is this comment of home country bias. Right. It's not just the US, every country has home country bias. British people invest in the UK, even though it's been a dog of a market for like 20 years.
But they don't do it intentionally. They'll be in pension funds and things that will automatically overweight towards the UK. And we've seen this in many other countries.
It's every country we go to. The Great Pie Tour, right. You look at theirs, they're 20, 25% New Zealand, if not 50% New Zealand invested. And we were looking at some of their portfolios, and like one of their top holdings is Auckland Airport. And then I'm looking at them going, you've got 12% of your money invested in Auckland Airport. What are you playing at?
And New Zealand is such a small economy. They only have 5 million people in their country. So if you look at globally, they represent less than 1% of the global economy. And we're like, well, why not just mirror the world? And they're way overweighted. We see it in Australia. We've seen it in New Zealand, UK.
Every country. And our economy, the UK economy, should serve as a warning to pretty much anyone. In 2008, we made up about, I think it was 8%, 9% of the global fund. And that's now down to less than 3.5 or something like that, as the UK has shrunk after Brexit with everything that's going on. And if you buy a global fund, it just rebalances. So if you think of your US fund, you've invested in all the industries and all the companies, and that just rebalances as they shrink and grow. It's exactly the same on a global nature. So we just don't think you should bet on one country. We think, why not bet on all the countries?
If you are going to bet on one country, you can kind of get away with it in the States because you account for 60, 70% of the global economy anyway, in terms of how much is within that global fund. And of course, your companies are so international as well that, and you're so dominant that it's the one country that we'll give you a pass on.
Yeah, but let's not talk about
Great, so I don't have to feel too guilty.
That's actually what J.L. Collins says, and he's been on our show, and he recommends...
It's like self-cleansing is how he says.
Yeah, he recommends to the international audience the Total World Fund. So you're following J.L. Collins' advice to the international audience. And then the U.S., he says, you can get away with it. So, yeah, there's a lot of talk in the U.S. about should I have international or not. And, I believe in what you guys believe in. The global financial engine is very powerful, and it may provide you with some drag because for the U.S., the rest of the world drags in growth, but it flips, it turns around. And especially in crashes in the U.S. and the tech industry, you can bank on the world. So that's the 4% rule and the Donegans portfolio. We need to get to our other songs because there are other genres and we want to dance. This is why we're here today. And this is a song we can all dance to. Maybe you could tell us what Badassity Mustachianism is so the audience can understand before we play the tune. Why did you do this one?
Well, one of the first people we found in the FI world was Mr. Money Mustache. And I'm sure so many of your listeners, the gateway, the simple path to math, the shockingly simple math behind early retirement.
Right.
Is a fantastic article, and just the attitude, the energy of his blog and his message is phenomenal about being a badass with your money, about creating the life you want to live.
And this is kind of tribute to anyone who takes the bold step of doing things differently, especially your catching up to FI listeners, that they've been living their life a certain way and now find this a bit later in life. That's going to mean they're going to probably make way more changes than people that find this earlier on. So that is a badass move to make those changes, to say, I'm going to change. I'm going to do things differently to how I've done this in the past and to all my peers. They're badass. And this song is for you.
Yeah, I agree, because I think our Catching Up to FI audience is badass. They've turned it around. They woke up and they're making massive changes to head in the direction of financial security, financial freedom. And I am proud of them. And I am proud to be a banner of this movement, along with Jackie and Diana.
Absolutely.
Let's listen to the tune.
Living life with Badassity, reaching early retirement. Inspired by Mr. Money Mustache, found our enlightenment. The shockingly simple math made everything clear. Cutting costs, saving cash, now our freedom is near. Frugality, independence, and living free. Badassity, frugality. Independence and living free, Badassity. Oh, Mustachianism.
All right. That is definitely a dance tune. You know, it may be a little hard for our audience to hear some of the lyrics, but maybe it all came through. You know, what he's talking about too, with that shockingly simple math, is based on your savings rate, you know your runway to retirement, and you got to trust the math again. This article was profound to me, and it's profound to our late starters, because if you save 30, 40, 50% of your income and invest it in low-cost index funds, you've got a 10, 12, 13-year runway. And Jackie is living proof that this is possible, right, Jackie?
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, I always like to acknowledge that for some people, it is a little harder than others. It was hard for me because, you know, how I grew up in poverty. But man, when you start to turn that light on just with basic financial literacy, then moving up to financial education and finally reaching financial independence, it is doable. And that's why I love to speak to that level of people that's just starting, has no idea where to go, never had any of this stuff before. You know, Alan and Katie, the stuff that you do in the Rebel Finance School, absolutely free. That is, to me, one of the best gateways to start getting this stuff. And once I started on the path and, you know, just unraveling everything, it is almost like the sky is opening to figure out some of this financial stuff. And that was the key for me. And I think we all agree that just starting with basic financial literacy can get you on the path to financial independence. And even if you're starting in your 50s or your 60s, you may think that it's too late, but one, you can make some movement, you can make some improvement. And who do you have around you in the next generation that's watching everything that you do, where you can start to create at least a legacy if you feel like it's too late for you? So,
yeah, we have a lot of people that come on Rebel Finance School that are later in life or finding it later in their 60s, 70s and beyond. And they're like, I can make changes, and we inspire them with your help to say, yes, you can make improvements. And they're so excited to pass it on to their kids, their nieces, their nephews, their grandkids. I had a message the other day that's like, our 5-year-old and our 2-month-old are going to know about this stuff before their next birthdays. The power that they can, the impact they can have on the people in their lives as well is so exciting.
And anyone who's listening to this who thinks it's too late for them, I have a test. So this is a simple test to know whether it's too late. I would like you to go to the bathroom, the restroom, and go to the mirror, and I want you to breathe on the mirror. If the mirror fogs up, it's not too late. If the mirror doesn't fog up, speak to Bill. You need his services.
Yeah, right. It is an emergency to catch up. And we do, as in the next song, need to create a gap. But what it feels like to be a late starter is, I think, universal. Diana, you're a late starter. What did it feel like to you to wake up and realize that you got to take care of yourself? You got to be the hero of your own journey.
Yeah, especially as a single. it's a big wake up call. I think 40 is when it hit me. I'm like, I need to get my ducks in a row. So just getting the education that I needed, and then finding the blog and Mr. Money Mustache's blog, and yeah, definitely got to get going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the first emotions were shame. Well, how could I let this happen? Regret. Why didn't I know about this? Why didn't my parents, my school, my peers teach me about this as a physician? But the physicians are notorious for being bad with this. And I ended up living a paycheck to paycheck life for 20, 25 years before I go, oh my God, nobody's going to take care of me. I've got to do it for myself. I can't trust the world and Social Security to help me live the retirement life that I want to live. I've got to take control of that. And what we have created, Diana and Jackie, I think, as well as Alan and Katie, is a space to feel safe, a space to be vulnerable, a space for everybody not to feel alone. That we refer to ourselves as the lost generation, as the silent generation, the Generation X that just didn't get the message in the transition from a defined benefit to a defined contribution plan. So to me, Badassity is definitely the way I feel. And I'm really happy that you guys have given us an anthem to rally behind. And one of the ways we're badasses is we learn to create a gap. And the third song in our special release is Create the Gap. And what do you guys mean by that before we play the song?
Creating a gap between what you earn and what you spend is fundamental to getting on top of your money. So, Bill, you just said that you were spending everything that you earned. That has to change if you want to start to get ahead with your money. That's the first step, to look at what you're spending, look at what you're earning, create that gap to then be able to do something useful with it.
It is the only sustainable way to create wealth, is to have a gap between your income and your spending. That is it. And people say things like, I'm not making progress. What should I do? And every time we go, let's go right back to the basics. Do you have a gap between your spending and your income? And if you don't, that's what we have to fix. Work on increasing the income, reducing the spending, get that gap and invest it. That is the root of everything.
Those are the levers that we can control. And, I was fortunate to have a big shovel, and my wife worked, and now we have a side hustle like you guys and like Jackie. A side hustle is a superpower. That's a lever you can pull. Real estate's a lever that you can pull. Starting a business is a lever that you can pull that helps you create that gap and helps you be able to increase the gap, which is also important. We, as late starters, we can't just have a 10% savings rate. That's a runway of 30 years.
It's a great start. Great start.
Yeah. I mean, then you got to get it going, but then increase it with time, increase it with your raises, invest your tax refund everywhere you can find money. Throw it at your investments on the investment fire, and you will find that you can create that runway. What was amazing for us was we went from 10% savings rate or single digit saver, as I referred to ourselves, to practically overnight, within a year or two, a 40% savings rate. And our lifestyle did not change. I was amazed. I'm like, we're still doing all the things we want to do. We're reducing the waste, and our incomes haven't necessarily gone up. Well, that's not entirely true, because my wife went back to full-time work, which made, as empty nesters, that was possible. And that's yet another superpower for us as late starters.
Hey, Bill, I think I heard your dog barking in the background, but if I could mouth the words, I think he was barking, play the song, play the song.
All right. Well, if you guys are ready.
The dogs are loving the songs too.
Well, Lily's rocking out downstairs. Podcasts are live events, and you just got to go with the flow. But anyway, the flow takes us to Create a Gap. Enjoy the tune.
Create a gap.
right. Well, how that just inspires you to create a gap right there. And we have a female vocalist this time. So it's awesome that you did so much with the music through Finn. And did you actually hire vocalists to do this, or they just do it out of the goodness of their heart in the Phi world that you found them?
I kind of wish, but we actually invested a reasonable amount of money and time in this. So we would write the lyrics, we would work on the tunes, then we would hire professional vocalists, guitarists, drummers. We had recording sessions. We've been recording for 6 months, 9 months. And then Finn takes those different tracks, compiles them, pulls them together, and then you have a final mastered and mixed project. But yeah, we have invested quite a few dollars paying professional singers, professional musicians, because people should earn money for creating good content. Like, content creators should be paid. They're producing something of value for the universe.
Okay, well, I love the quality. What's interesting about this album is it's not like homegrown organic. It may have had an organic start, but it has real professional polishing, which I think is so cool. I mean, there's so many anthems for our movement. I think that we even have in our final song, which is The Boring Middle, I think we have a pop tune here. I think we have something that's going to hit the charts. What do you think, Diana?
Absolutely. I was so moved the first time I listened to this. I left the Donegans a voicemail. I was just, I was very moved. It's very good.
Jackie, what do you think of The Boring Middle? And we have to describe what it is in a minute.
I loved every single song that was on here. I think this kind of exemplifies our audience in particular. So I really loved that. Yeah, you guys did an amazing job. I'm like, where did they get those vocalists? Like, these are awesome vocalists, the music behind it. And I'm like, I wouldn't even know where to start. But you guys are entrepreneurs, so you always find a way to create the most professional content, whether it's your book or your school or this new album. So we're all about it. You see, we're just jamming out over here. And I love Diana with that rocker hair.
Well, it would be nice to see a live concert with this. At a meetup, it would be nice to get the group together, the Revolutionaries, and really see this live. It would be so cool. And maybe there's a future in that. And what's also cool, we talked about it prior to the show, is creating a catch-up song for the Catching Up to Phi community. We may work on this to have our own unique music, guys, and we want to hear what you think. We want to hear what you think might need to be in the lyrics. So look for this in the future. We're going to work with Katie and Alan on creating this for our audience. But let's hear The Boring Middle.
I've heard it called the boring middle, where the grind never ends. But this is where I've built my strength and learned to love the journey. It ain't about the numbers or the dollars that I save. It's the habits and the health I gain in preparing for the freedom I crave. Ooh, it ain't the boring middle, it's the best part. It's time for health and happiness. Ooh, I'm ready for life. So don't rush through the middle. Take your time, enjoy the ride. For it's in the so-called boring part that we truly come alive.
I think that line, it's in the boring middle that we truly come alive, is a title track. It's your first 45. The boring middle is boring. I'm in it. It is. It's hard work. It's the long sludge. You wake up and you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, I got this. I can do this. This is so cool. And we all do this. The path to Phi is really similar for everybody, whether you're 30, 35, 40, 55. But I woke up at 50, and you can see behind me, I digested shelves of books that slowed me down a little bit. It doesn't take a book to get there. Read The Shockingly Simple Math, read The Simple Path to Wealth, and you're off to the races. Right, guys?
Yep. That's it. That's all you need. Read the book, listen to your podcast. That's it. Like, just start.
And find out the way that you learn the best. For some people, it's videos. For some people, it's audio. Some people, it's an album like this that just helps put it all together. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the boring middle for me, it is a grind. And it's probably the wrong term to use because you talk about in this song, you've got to enjoy life's journey. You can't just wish yourself to teleport to that end goal, the finish line where you've reached a number. You've got to enjoy it as the number builds, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And I made a big mistake of thinking all my problems would be solved and I'd wake up blissfully happy the day that we hit our number. And it doesn't work like that. And I want to save people the pain that I had of waking up the next morning and being like, oh, I'm still me. I still have the same weird things of ways of thinking and behaving and acting and things that I didn't like about myself. It's not like suddenly I became blissfully happy. And the purpose of this song is to tell or to encourage people, please work on your happiness, please work on your health whilst you're in this so-called boring middle. That it's not the boring middle, it's the best part. It's the time where you get to be ready for that freedom when you get it. I wasn't ready for it. I was like, oh, what do I do with all this time? This is weird. I don't know how to do this. You have this time to prepare yourself for that, to try things out. Like, what is it that you might want to do when you have that time freedom? And start doing it now. What can you do now to enjoy?
There's this piece of Phi that we all get very excited when we learn about it, and we listen to every episode of Catching Up to Phi. We read all the books, and then you get to the point where you go, I know this, now I just have to wait. And that's why they call it the boring middle. But to me, that's the most exciting piece, because you have automated your finances. You've learned everything you need to learn. Now you can get on with leading your life and just like lead your life. We had this wonderful guy from India on the Rebel Finance Call. And he came on and he goes, I'm in the boring middle. What should I do? And we both looked at each other going, stop listening to us and go and live your life. Go and spend time with your family, like work out, look after your health. You've automated this, which is why you feel bored, because you're like, it should happen quicker. Mm-hmm. If you focus on living your life, the boring middle will become the best part, and you will love your time with your family. You will love your time looking after your health, rocking out to tunes, doing whatever it is you want to do. So I think that would be our call to the Catching Up to Phi crew. Start living your life now. Make a list of what you want to do in retirement, and then just start now.
Yeah, I mean, the boring middle is in some ways the exciting middle. You do have to wait, but don't wait to the exclusion of living. You know, you talk about the outro and the chorus is don't rush through the middle. Take your time, enjoy the ride. For it's in the so-called boring middle part that we truly come alive. You know, that's so true. That is just so true. My boring middle is not boring at all. I discovered a podcast. I discovered the Phi community. I met Diana. I met Jackie. I met you guys. I go to these conferences and I have so many friends. It's exponential. It compounds. You know, everybody's boring middle is different, and it's not boring. It's about relationships. It is about your health, but relationship health too, because you take those people with you into retirement. I'm not going to take the people I work with into retirement. I'm going to take my Phi crowd into retirement. You know, I'll exit the building and they will have forgotten me by the next day. All of a sudden, I'm like,
you're not that forgettable, Bill. Come on.
I'm just, in some ways, unfortunately, in my job, I'm a bit of a cog in the wheel. I'm a lone wolf. And, you know, while I make an impact while I'm there, and it's true for, I think, a lot of people, if you get your identity wrapped around your work, you know, when you exit the building, as does Elvis, you know, you may not be, you know, the famous ER doctor anymore. You want to be the famous father, the famous husband, the famous friend. And that's where the post-retirement life comes alive. Katie, you mentioned you didn't know what to do with yourself. Did you struggle at all with the emotions of maybe a short depression, as a lot of people do if they don't figure this out before they exit the building?
I don't know if I was depressed. I felt very lost. I felt like, what do I do with this time? And it coincided with the pandemic as well. So we retired in mid 2019. Early 2020, we decided that we would travel the world and go completely nomadic. Not the best time to travel the world.
Worst timing
pandemic looming. So then we're locked down, trapped at home, and it's like, oh, now what? Then literally there was the hours to do whatever you want, which is freedom, but is also overwhelming as well. And then we had the idea of doing Rebel Finance School, and that purpose and that drive, that's so exciting. That when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what can we do to help and to give and to, people don't really get this point. Let's create something to help people. And that focus on something outside of yourself is so powerful as well, that it's not all about you and focusing on yourself. So I found that really helped with very much about find a purpose, but that purpose is made up. We made up Rebel Finance School. Make up what it is. Is it looking after your kids? Is it you want to go for a walk on a beach every day?
Be the best wood carpenter the world has ever seen. It doesn't matter. Build the biggest Lego city in the world. It doesn't matter what your purpose is. And I think that's the mistake a lot of people make, is they go out there looking for purpose. Right. It's like, I'll go to Thailand, I'll go to a temple and buy elephant pants, and I'll sit there waiting for purpose to come. And that's not how it works. You just try stuff. And I think the message from the boring middle is try stuff now. Because if you try stuff now on the journey, try podcasting, try writing a book, try singing a song, try making a table. I don't really care what it is. Try it now, and then you'll be so excited to have more time to do your thing that you'll be moving into something positive. You'll be excited about the future, and that's really what we want. Then you're just positively moving forwards, full of joy, looking forward to this bright future.
Well, it's about curiosity, and it's about experimentation. We had Jordan Grummett on the show talking about his book, The Purpose Code, and he talks about big P purpose and little p purpose. And what we're talking about here in the boring middle and thereafter is little p purpose. You can make a difference in the world, as he said about one of his mentors, selling baseball cards, because you bring together a bunch of kids that have a mentor in that, and they learn how to collect something, how to sell something, how to engage in trade. There are so many things that we can do, or we're already doing, that we don't realize are impacting the world. I mean, one of our passions is to take our dogs, who you heard in the background, to a children's hospital and visit with kids with cancer on Fridays. You know, it lights us up. My wife and I are both physicians, and we're responsible with a heavy burden of helping people, find their health, work back to health. And when we go to the hospital, all we do is passively give. We bring smiles to the staff, to the kids, to the families, to the parents. And that is so important. And it just, and what did it end up in for me? I just went to my first board meeting last night of the volunteer board. Because of that passion, I now get to help all the volunteers feel what they're doing for this hospital is making a difference. So these things grow, these things compound. As Brad Barrett says, what's your 1%? What's your 1% better every day? Diana, tell us what your retirement might look like.
Volunteering for you all.
Yeah. and your social media expert skills, and I have seen them grow and grow, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't even imagine coming up with some of the stuff you come up with. So
no, it gives, and this community gives others passion and purpose. That's been a joy for me. As Jackie might say, when Becky exited the building because she needed to live her best retired life, and I was like, this podcast might not survive because who wants to listen to a high-income, bald white guy talk to an audience of people that are very different from me?
I was listening, Bill. I was
know, but I was
listening.
just a little too vanilla, I thought. And
Oh,
it just
no.
didn't bring it to me to do it alone. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I reached out to Jackie, and guess what she said? She said, and when you asked me to do this, I feel like I found a home. And I still think about that. And it just, and I think Diana can say the same thing. And it just, when you create something and use your right brain, which I hadn't used for years because I was all left-brained and, how do we solve this medical problem? But then as I moved to my right brain, my boring middle came alive. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for sure. And Bill, I think your main goal was to bring in another lens. Like, we couldn't be more opposite. You're white and I'm black. I grew up in poverty. I'm a woman. I'm divorced. You're married. So I think it makes it much more interesting to have different voices. So that's why it was an attractive proposal to me. Plus, I like the old white guy. It's great. We have a lot of fun. I don't even see you that way. I mean, obviously, our demographics, people can see that. But more than anything, it's just you as you, and I'm hoping that we continue to bring, this value and these different lenses to our audience for a very long time. And Katie and Alan, you guys you inspire us. We reference the things that you do and the things you talk about all the time for us to get better. And that's why it was so meaningful for us to help you introduce your album and your book. And it just means a lot. And I think our audience is going to love them both.
We're so grateful for you to share the music, because what's the point of creating a music album if no one listens to it? We're just so excited about the different tracks, and our kind of hope is that the audience will play them, and maybe they'll have their kids in the car and the kids will be singing along to the Earn and Invest song, or they're playing the compounding song, or they're playing the song about buy your freedom first. They go to the shops with their kids and they're playing buy your freedom first, and they decide not to buy plastic tat. They put it into VTSAX or VTI or VTE or whatever the fund is that they use. And we just kind of hope that these songs become something that people will play to inspire the message, to repeat the message themselves, and to start living a life that will truly bring them alive.
Well, this is a media that you could imagine in schools. What we need to see is, because kids, they want TikTok. They don't necessarily want to read the shockingly simple math, and nor maybe should they at their young age. But if you play these songs, say in a classroom, in a finance class, you have so much material to talk about. I mean, it really is another way, another lens to look at what our community is trying to do in bringing financial literacy to the entire world. I mean, Jackie is a financial educator. She retired at 49. She's busier than she ever was probably when she was employed in the corporate world in a 9-to-5. I know that for a fact because she's everywhere all the time, just like that movie.
Yeah, busier and happier, I can say that. So it doesn't even feel like work. I'm not complaining. I'm not rolling my eyes. I'm not groaning. I do it. And I was so excited for this podcast today every time we record. So that is a critical difference. That's the critical difference.
So Diana, as we come to the close of this show, do you have any final thoughts or questions for Alan and Katie?
Yes, the boring middle. Again, that song, it so got to me. And I had, as soon as Jason came home from work, you have to listen to the song. And all he got out of it was like that you have to enjoy the ride. And my first time going around the Debt Mountain, it was like work, 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 do this, don't have fun. And then I get to go down the mountain a second time and he's like, travel, do this, give this. And I'm like, whoa. So it was great to see both sides. And I just wanted, definitely, you have to enjoy the ride, because if you're not. And the other thing I really, really wanted to talk about was it's the time at that middle, we truly come alive. But I think we discover who we are because we're stretched beyond belief. We're doing things we never thought we could do. And we're finally spending money on things that we value instead of how I did in the past, where I didn't know where money was going, and I'm spending money on things like, why was I spending money on this? So it's just so life-changing. So that's what I wanted to add. Thank you.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Thanks for your thoughts. And Katie and Alan, you have a book coming out too. We may have to do another podcast about that because you use superheroes to supercharge your audience. And I love that. You're wearing superhero t-shirts. Jackie has Warren Buffett on. Diana has Captain America on. And I'm wearing Debt Sucks, which is in a way a superhero anthem. We are our own superheroes, and we need to recognize that so that we don't get bored. This life is not boring unless you let it be so, right, guys?
Well, I think my mum used to say to me, only boring people get bored. And when I was young, I was like, shut up, mum. It's boring. There's nothing to do. I'm bored. Leave me alone. And she's like, only boring people get bored. And I didn't even know what that meant. And now I'm 46. How old am I?
I think you're 46.
And I've realized she was right. There is so much in this world that you can live and do and experience and talk to people. So much. And we've never lived in a time like this where we can have a podcast created with 4 people in different countries, like random British people who can't sing can create music with a Canadian. Like, we've never had a time like this, and no one is coming to fix this for you. No one is coming to save you. You have to save yourself. And that for us is the fundamental message of everything, is if you want your life to change, don't look for anyone else. The government is definitely not coming to help. There's no random internet strangers. Yes, we will create podcasts, but you still have to do all the work. You still have to do it all. And we love it when we get the messages that say, you changed our lives. And we kind of reply going, like, thank you, that's flattering. And no, we didn't. We gave you an idea. You did it.
Yes,
and that's what we would love people to hear is no one's coming to save you. It is your opportunity. You get one life. Create the life you want to live and do it now.
Well, I have a dream. As Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. And my dream is that the people that listen to this podcast share it with 10 people, that share it with another 10 people, that share it with another 100 people. And we want to reach the people outside of this bubble that typically listen to these things. Please share this. It's a sharing economy. This is passive learning. If they listen to this music, they might say, what's the 4% rule? What's the gap? They'll get curious about this, and it'll help them wake up. We're just looking for many, many different ways to help people engage. You can't lecture. You can't tell them what they want to do. My kids called me lecture daddy, and they were like, I don't want to hear it. You better start a Facebook group, podcast, and tell somebody else.
Yeah, it's like not intimidating, a way in which you are actually being entertained a little bit at the same time you're learning something. I think that's part of the magic formula.
I definitely had a very preachy phase. It didn't win any friends.
Yeah.
Probably lost quite a few.
So you guys, we talked about the book and who is writing the foreword to the book.
We have Mr. Money Mustache, the man, the myth, the legend, said yes to writing the foreword to the book. And yeah, I'm excited. I've not seen what.
Yeah, we got confetti going all around here. That is exciting. I'm like, Badassity. Okay, I know Mr. Money Mustache must have signed off on that. So you've got the book coming out. When does the book come out?
The book will come out right at the beginning of April. Yeah, the exact date is not there yet. If you want to know more, you can just go to rebeldonegans.com, which is our website, and that will give you everything you need to know, or you can sign up to our mailing list if you ever want to hear from us or not.
When can we pre-order? Because we know pre-orders are so important. When can we do that?
We're working on that. I have never come across a project that is so big. I don't know how you did it, Jackie, with Fire for Dummies.
It was a lot. It was
go down tangents. It's like, how big does the spine need to be for our book? Oh, how many pages is the book? Oh, do we need to have this many in the front matter and the back matter. And
exactly. It was crazy, but you know what? You can be sure that we will be talking about it. So whenever it comes out, we will be sharing and posting, not just making sure our community knows about it, but everyone that we are remotely connected to. So we are, this just keeps us on the edge of our seat, right? We're like, when was the date? What's the date? So we've got the album coming out. The album is coming out in mid-March. Is that right?
March 21st.
March 21st. So we do have a date for that. So we've got the book. We've got the album. You've been sort of pre-releasing a few snippets. So we're just excited about everything that you have going on, and not to forget about your Rebel Finance School that you do every summer. I'm sure that will be opening soon. Like, you guys you guys are such an inspiration for so many. You're kind of representing that middle, it's not boring anymore. It's the exciting middle, and you guys are just doing it. Like we love it. Like, we were energized for today's podcast. So we know where to find you. We got dates and everything. What else we got, Bill?
Well, we're going to exit the building here, but we're going to exit on a real positive note, because I'd like to, move on out with the boring middle one more time.
I've heard it called the boring middle, where the grind never ends. But this is where I've built my strength and learned to love the journey. It ain't about the numbers or the dollars that I save. It's the habits and the health I gain in preparing for the freedom I crave. Ooh, it ain't the boring middle, it's the best part. Ooh, it's time for health and happiness. Ooh, I'm ready for life. So don't rush through the middle. Take your time, enjoy the ride. For it's in the so-called boring part that we truly come alive.
Katie, Alan, Jackie, Diana, thank you for being here today. Thank you for rocking out and swaying to the tunes. We'll see all of you next week on Catching Up to 5.
And the joy that only we can know. Focus on the present.
We cannot forget that today is Katie's birthday, and I can't sing, but I'm going to do it.
We're going to try.
No, it's going to be terrible, but that's okay. All right, guys. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday,
Katie. Happy birthday to you. That might have been the worst rendition, but the love is there. The love is there.
The worst rendition of Happy Birthday known to man.
Does this mean we won't be on your next album?
All right.
Definitely.
Happy birthday, Katie.
So, Bill, as you know, we cannot do this show without our amazing staff and the people that help us put this on. Our social media maven is Diana Falk, and our editor is Fritz Brazard. We love them, and they keep us going.
Yeah, Jackie, this show wouldn't have the quality it has without our folks, our peeps. And we'd also like to give you a few calls to action for the show. We love our community, and we hope you love us back. If you would like to support the show and our mission to help late starters, you can do that at Buy Me a Coffee, which is a platform that allows you to make a donation. The link is in the show notes and on the website.
Check out the show notes for resources mentioned in today's show. Also, head on over to our website at catchinguptophi.com and check out our vetted resources, partners, and affiliates for discounts and their services, because we love sharing great deals.
Please share the show with others and head on over to our Facebook community to help us grow. If you prefer video, head on over to YouTube and watch the show there. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Catching Up to 5. We would appreciate it if you could also leave us a 5-star review to help our message reach others.
And while we are financial educators that love to teach, remember that our content is for general education and information purposes only. We are not providing financial, legal, or tax advice. Always do your own research or consult a professional before making important decisions.
So Jackie, we'll see our audience next time on Catching Up to 5. Cheers.